and welcome, Margaret Dunne. We are live. And
Oh,
I
great.
know we did it. We did it, didn't we?
Yes, definitely. I did it because I'm not good with technology in general, but I'm getting better. And COVID has pushed me to to step through my comfort zones. Yes, yes.
Well, you were fantastic. You were online early. You got it all set up. I was very impressed. So whatever magic you're working, I think it's stick with it. Stick with it.
I will, I will. And thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here. Lovely.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm just going to do a quick intro, Margaret. And my name's Dr. Kate Bartram Brown, and I'm doing interviews with all the amazing people that I know. And luckily, I'm surrounded with amazing people. Interestingly, each of them have areas of expertise that I feel that we can all benefit from. And Margaret is one of those people. Now, I've known Margaret quite some years, and I have had the pleasure and joy of actually visiting her at her Montessori school that she once owned. And just to say that the children in that school, I have never walked into a place where children have been so at peace, so happy, and so joyous. And I want to talk to you all about how you do it, education, COVID. I want to hear all about that. But there's so much more that you do. Margaret is a guide and healer in the Modern Mystery School, and she helps a lot of people. So she helps families. She helps the elderly. I know she does a lot of work with the elderly. She actually helps a lot of people that have strokes, and she's a qualified and trained nurse, qualified and trained teacher, and amongst all the other things. So I think it's best if I just hand over to you and you can just do a bit of a background on you, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Well, I suppose I was born in the 50s, and it was a time when, children were seen and not heard. And I grew up in the countryside until the age of 6, and I had the great outdoors was my playground. We had cows and calves, and we had a donkey, and we had hens and chickens. And then I got moved to the centre of Dublin. So my green area became the size of my kitchen table. And when I looked out my back door, it was a concrete jungle. And I moved to live with my aunt. And back then, I don't know, did you do it in England, Kate? But, if there was a big family, and then there was maybe an aunt and an aunt or an uncle who had no children, then they helped each other out. So they would take a child. And so I ended up in Dublin. And my aunt was the most amazing woman. Kate, you would have died to stay in her guest house. She had a top quality, high-star guest house in the centre of Dublin, just around from Stephen's Green. And I lived with her there all those years. It was a busy, busy, busy place. When I look back, I couldn't say it was a home as such. It was more of a business. The kitchen was the centre of the house, and you mucked in and you worked. Now, my aunt, and I'll say it again, she looked after me. Back then they kind of looked after. They fed you, they clothed you, they made sure you had your education, and I got sent to one of the best schools in Dublin. But there was something missing. I was always yearning for home. I was lonely, but you got on with it. There wasn't a huge connection. I could say that children weren't as cherished as they are. Not the emotional side, and I guess nobody did look after their emotional side then. But with the result, I grew up always looking outward, and I thought, well, if I do this job really well, I'll get the praise of my aunt, and it'll be something to help me feel good. And I think I became a people pleaser. And but then there was an innate part in me that always wanted to help people. But I guess in that need, what I was also saying is I wanted to help myself, you know? So I did my Leaving Cert. I went on and I did nursing. I became a general nurse and a midwife. And I had just finished my training, and I was working as a staff nurse on a postnatal ward one day, and the phone rang, and I had my name down with the Irish Missionary Union because I wanted to go somewhere. I wanted to do something big. And she phoned and she said, this lady said, look, I'm phoning from the Irish Missionary Union. Are you still interested in going? I said, oh my God, I am. Bring it on. And she said, would you think of going to Ecuador? We want someone to go on a mission to Ecuador. And I said, oh, brilliant. That is great. And she said, now you'll be flying out on whatever date and we'll get all your stuff, your passports and stuff sorted for you, your vaccines, all that sort of stuff. And I was dancing. I left down the phone and my colleagues were there and they said to me, Margaret, where's Ecuador? And I said, do you know something? I never asked her. Is it Africa?
I love that, Margaret. Go on, do it. I love it.
It was South America. South America. So I headed off to South America, and in early '83, it was a Friday the 13th, because I always remember, because I thought, oh my God, if the plane crashes. But anyway, I arrived in Ecuador, and that was such a change. It was a huge change. I joined an Irish mission over there, and there was priests and there was nuns and then there was nurses, and I spent 2 years there. So I was on a vaccination program. So I was giving, the usual vaccines, the polio, diphtheria, tetanus, all that to young children up to 12 years of age. And then all mothers had tetanus toxoid during pregnancy. And so that was my job. And then it was teaching primary health care. And I also got I also had an opportunity to fly in with the Ecuadorian army into their base in the Amazon jungle, and we worked in a hospital there belonging to an Irish priest doctor. I never met him while I was there, because when he was out of the country, we were in his hospital, and then when he came back, we were gone. But that so opened up my eyes. I guess I was first open to the injustice suffered by so many, and women, the finest of women, so disempowered, and yet with a heart of gold, an absolute heart of gold, and the most beautiful children. So I came back and I decided I was never going back to who I was before. I was never going back to my judgment and my fears and my guilt and my shame and all those. I was never doing that again. But as it turned out, to survive, you go back right into where you came out of. But I was really glad for the experience of being there. And it opened up my mind to what's going on around us and around this world. So there was a part of me that never really had a huge connection with children, even though I always seemed to be thrown in with them. And I didn't connect. I think it was probably from my own experience. I didn't really connect until my first child was born. And I remember during my pregnancy, I couldn't connect with this bump in front of me. In my head, I kind of thought, that's over there somewhere. I'll deal with it when the time comes. But here I was having a baby. Oh my God, the pain of it. And my son was born, and I could feel, I didn't know what it was because I knew nothing about chakras. I knew nothing about energy, nothing like that. But I do distinctly remember my chest, my chest sort of blowing out. And I thought, oh my God, what the heck is that? And someone said, Margaret, that was your heart chakra. And I couldn't stop crying. I had, for 3 days, 4 days, I couldn't stop crying. And the nurses were really worried about me because being a midwife myself, I knew they were thinking, oh, she's got depression. She's got the 3-day blues and this is getting worse. And I said, no, it's not. And I think I cried for every child I met in Ecuador that I didn't connect with. I cried for every child, around the world where I've seen terrible things happen to them. And here I was with this, my child. And that to me really, really got me moving. And okay, so I got my children through. I had 5 children, and then I lost one of them with heart disease. And that was a huge learning for me. A huge learning, because there was one time I would have thought, oh, look at, it's just a child. Oh, wow. I think, and I know that all these crosses are lessons to us. And it's how we develop ourselves and how we get stronger. And so shortly, when my youngest child was ready for preschool, there was no preschool in this area. And a friend of mine, Jackie, said to me, Margaret, there's empty classrooms in our local national school. Will you go down and see? I must have been someone who was a doer. And I went down and I asked the principal and I said, what about, could we take a classroom? And she said, absolutely. And I couldn't believe it. And I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I don't want to have anything to do with children. I can just mind my own and love my own. I don't want anything to do with this. And I thought, oh, well, I'll find someone that will run this play school. Nobody wanted it. Nobody. So I invested my, about €2,000 into it. I put in play stuff. I put in a whole load of stuff. And I was really getting stressed out. How am I going to manage on the first day? I'd never done painting. I'd never done so many things I never did. But to make a long story short, after a few weeks in the school, I thought, oh my God, I could see myself in some of those children. And I was back to, and I thought, and I didn't realize it for a long time, but I knew I was there for a reason. And I felt these children are capable of a lot more than just play. And play is absolutely essential. And I thought, I'll go and I'll train as Montessori teacher, and maybe I'll get into the primary school sector, because St. Nicholas Montessori at the time, and it was recognized by the Department of Education. And I thought, I'll do that. But after 2 years, I was exhausted from traveling. I was running my school, I had 5 children, and I was traveling 4 hours at nighttime to the college and back. But what I found was Montessori was just amazing. And when I went to school, when I was a child going to school, I had huge difficulty with maths, huge difficulty. And suddenly, here I was being able to do the maths I couldn't do back then. And I remember driving home and I had the radio on and I was singing a song, and I thought, I am not as dense as I was told I was when it came to numbers. And I thought, there's hope for me. But as time went along, of course, the Montessori program is very much into the holistic child. Okay, into the holistic child. And for the first time, I started using my senses. And I thought, wow, okay. And then I started bringing different things into the room. And I started to explore, and I said, wow, because Montessori has has a brilliant reputation, and it works really well with so many children. And it's divided into subjects. But what I noticed was I loved the geography. Oh my God. In our primary school, we kind of start geography working from where we live. outwards. But in the Montessori program, I started with the universe and came inwards.
Wow.
Yes. So this had a profound effect on me. So I got all the pieces I needed to. Thank God I got a grant from childcare. And I was able to get all these amazing, amazing pieces. So I got this, and we had a huge jigsaw of the universe. And then we had a song for each piece. And when we came to, Earth is home to me and you. So each piece had a story. Uranus spun on its side. And of course, and then as time went along, I noticed, wow, these have huge significance, each of these planets, and we're all connected. So then we took planet Earth and we lifted it up and we looked at it. And I thought, oh my God, isn't this beautiful? And for the first time, I was really learning geography that had a massive impact on me, and I was able to understand it so well. So I was able to bring this to the children. But the lovely part about it was the child started to understand where he belonged in the universe. So we took planet Earth and we did down, as the years went on and I did more training, I was able to bring meditation in. And we would often go to the sea. And we looked at the sea on the globe, the smoothness and the blueness of the sea. And then we looked at the land. But we went to the sea in our meditations. And we went with the dolphins. And the dolphins brought us around the sea. And he showed us the beauty of the colours of the ocean. But then there was a lot of plastic down there. Even back then, we were going back to a lot of plastic. So there was always a message that even though we all went in our little group to the beach, we'd have our picnic, we'd take off our shoes and feel the sand and the sun, and we'd feel the wind and the water. We were very careful to gather our stuff up and bring it home with us and be responsible. And little seeds like that I found I was sowing. But the one big thing I found was that to introduce, I guess at this stage, I trained as a reflexologist, I trained as a kinesiologist, a movement therapist. And we got a lot of movement into the room. And our very first day of every year, I would get the children down on the floor and we'd get them crawling and we'd say, okay, let's see the child who might have difficulty. And we'd find the child who had a very erratic crawl. And sure as God, there would be little ways. And then we would introduce a program where we all took part in it. And so we kind of, each part, and I still felt there was something missing because I was still looking outwards. I found myself still looking outwards. And even though I had touched in on the senses, then I came across the mystery school, the modern mystery school. And I had a life activation. And I found this to be profound. It steadied me. And it was like as if I had an innate knowing that, I need to work with children. And I went forward I did Empower Thyself, the 2-day program. And that gave me amazing tools. So, when I went into my judgment, when I went into my fear, I had a set of tools that I can use, and I use them every day, that can reset my energy. And I'm back on track again. But what I learned, I wanted to learn how to do the life activation. I really wanted to do it. It had such an effect on me. And I thought, wouldn't this be brilliant? Because opening up the DNA, opening up the brain, wow, you're seeing the earth. You're seeing yourself for who you are. It's knowing yourself. And I learned amazing meditations, and I was able to take everything back to the school with me. And there was days when I would maybe notice a child who needed a bit of help, and I might stand her on the table and I'd say, okay, let's do this, and we'd have a chat. And if you could if you put things in a nutshell, meditation, breathing, just forget meditation, just breathing alone is the core. Breathing alone is the core. So many people are born and they will die without ever having tuned into their senses, without ever having smelt the flowers, listened to the amazing sounds. And I thought, oh my God, what are you missing? And what it did for me was I got to really hear the beauty in the wind. I got to feel the texture in the trees. And what I was getting was a glimpse of consciousness. I was in the moment, because when we're breathing and conscious, we are in that moment. And I thought, oh golly, this is where we all need to come. And so I introduced we started every day. I would put in my sacred circle, set the energies of sacred geometry in the room. And it was a lot of training. It was a lot of involvement for me. But the more I did it, the more it flowed. And the children were very much with me. And I have photographs of children doing life activations with each other on forks.
Oh, bless them. So Margaret, when I walked into your school, these children were just so at peace with themselves. And I think, what you're sharing with me is that you were at peace with yourself. You had gone on this big, long journey, and because you were at peace with yourself, you created this environment for these children to be safe in. So what I'm hearing, and what I think I'm hearing, is that, many families now are going through uncertain times. Maybe we have some anxiety, maybe we have some uncertainty, maybe there are fear or frustration or things going on, that are happening in our family situation. And what I think I'm, hearing from your story is that if we take control and responsibility for our own well-being, then that is going to have a direct effect on our immediate family.
Oh, absolutely. What I found was I really came into my own when I started to know myself and to know who I was, where I came from. What am I doing here? What's my purpose? And to me, the breath was the beginning of everything. Then having the life activation, then being given these amazing tools by the mystery school. And yes, there are huge, family life at the moment has changed. But, I know it's hard, but I think we have to look on it. We can't be negative all the time. We have to see what we're presented with here. We're being given an opportunity to reassess. How am I managing my life? When this is all, I was in a house the other day, and there was children we were preparing to go to primary school and children preparing to go to secondary school. And there was a lot of, what will we do? Oh, how am I going to manage my exams? And then there was a boy there going to secondary and said, I don't give a damn. I hope we're out of school again. But Kate, and a lot of psychotherapists will tell you they didn't see many people over the summer because the greatest stress for children is coming from school. They might be worried about a subject that they're having difficulty with. They might have a difficulty with a teacher. They might have difficulty with friends and are stressed. And that to me seems to be where a lot of the stress was coming from anyway. So this has been and I know there's different scenarios. It depends on where you are. And I thank God every day I'm not in a concrete jungle. I'm out in the countryside. So I was able to get out. I was able to bring my grandchild with me and do my thing. But going back to that family, so there was a lot of, it was like a swing. Everything was swinging. And I said, well, okay, so what's happening? What's expected of you? Have you got your letters from your schools? And they were up in the press somewhere, and had anyone ever really read it? And they said, well, look, let's take down the letter and we'll see. Because having knowledge about what's expected of us is half the battle. And then we looked through the letter. And of course, uncertainty itself is enough to knock us off our pedestal. But reading the letter, it lets you know what you have control over and what you haven't control over. And it's knowing what to let go and bring in the stuff that you can work in. And from reading the school letters, they were able to say, okay, so we knew now that the schools had put in, they had really worked hard over the last few weeks preparing for, and God knows they had it hard because the rules kept changing, but they had put in so much work and in preparation, and they were assuring the parents and assuring the children that, we're in this together, we're going to make it work. And then they had the few little things there that had to be done. So they weren't going to be going in. Some of them weren't going to be going in the same door. And so it was another door. We would enter the school from another entrance. And then there would be hand wash. Well, hand wash is great anyway. And, we're going to be, we would have done that anyway. But now it's even that more important. And then there was a talk about being with their classes and being in their groups. And I thought about this, and I said, well, right, you're going to be in your groups. You're going to really get to know each other. You're, it's good to have a chat about how you're going to support each other. And I was thinking, there's so many ways in that room that they can bring in that connection to each other and have it a place where they want to be and they love to be. This is their chance to build their relationship with each other. And there's so many ways to do it. Now, I would say, let's say going back to the family, I could see them relaxing around the table. And I said, so this is what you do. Some of you are going to be coming home earlier than others. And yeah, how's that? And can we sort that? And who can go here and who can go there? Yeah. And then we spoke about home and how can we make the home safer? What about the washing the hands? Can we support each other? Can everyone take a few jobs? Because, there is a certain amount of stress, but by us all chipping in, so it was decided, well, someone will put out the bins, someone else will get the lunches going, and maybe they'd all take responsibility for their own lunch, their uniforms, all these sort of things, and they'd be ready. And we said, throw into that laughter, music, and so I said, when you get up in the morning, put on a really good lively song. And I said, get you going for today, lift yourselves. This is going to pass. It's going to pass. And we will come out the other side of it. But in the meantime, we need to look after ourselves and we need to look after our family and we need to look after our school friends. And smile. And, what if it closes down again? So what? We'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be that much more wise when you come out the other end for your experience.
Yeah, I love that, Margaret. I love that. I love that how, just sitting down and because of your, I feel because of your training and how you use your breath and, you've had, like you said, you've had your activation, you've had your initiation, you're able to almost take a step back and look at things from a
Yes.
whole different perspective. And
Yes.
then that's a ripple effect that then, that you can share with those people around you. And just, you saying, oh, they were sitting around the kitchen table and you could see them relax.
Yes.
Just by you taking that control of, okay.
Yes. Yeah. And just bringing calm to chaos. And this is what you build when you connect with the breath.
Yeah.
This is, I can't tell it enough. And, we have finally come to a time when the Department of Education, whoever sets these curriculums, need to go easy on the primary schools and maybe take out stuff that maybe is not essential at this moment, because this is an opportunity to start building inwards. Because for me, the journey was inwards. I didn't get satisfaction over trying to please different people, wherever I was. I just couldn't, I didn't have that fulfillment. Things didn't change. My life didn't change until I went inwards. And I found the peace inside of myself. And I picked up through the senses. And I learned to, Kate, do you remember in our training with the mystery school, we did connection exercises?
Yes.
Oh my God. When we gathered in Toronto or Japan or wherever it was, we had connection exercises. So we sat in front of someone who was a total stranger. And we looked at them. And we can, I bought this to my meditation last week and it was really good. And we need to bring it now to the classroom. So we sit this group of children in their, do they call them pods, I think? I'm not too sure, but in their group. And this is a wonderful way to gel them together and to sit opposite each other. And to look into the eyes, just to sit, to breathe, and to be conscious of that connection. Keep your eye on the person in front of you. Look into their eyes. And the eyes are magical because I think that they're kind of a gateway. They're the connection to the soul. And we can wink and we can do different things with our eyes. But to sit and to breathe and to relax opposite each other, it literally opens the heart connection between the two.
It's beautiful.
That is amazing. So simple. And Kate, there's another. Sometimes, children might find it difficult to get the breathing sorted, or the teachers might say, well, it doesn't work and I don't know how to do it and whatever. And I came across a lovely breathing. And it's kind of to imagine a flower in your hand, in one hand. And then you have a candle in the other hand. And then, wow, can you smell the flower? Can you? You do it again. And now let's blow this candle out.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, so you smell and blow the candle out. And that goes down. I find that to be a lovely way to connect. And easy for the kids. And they can sit in their chairs and do it. And
this one would be good for the parents at home, wouldn't there? Because a lot of parents are, maybe I think as we're discussing it more and more, maybe we're realizing that probably the stress is coming from the parents more so than the children, and and then it's having obviously a knock-on effect, because we affect the surroundings, our environment. So isn't it great? And this is something that we've talked about quite a lot, is that if you can't expect children or other people to do things that you're not already doing yourself. It kind of doesn't work like that. It's we do it, and then if other people want to, if they like what they see, then they can join in, and if they don't, then they then they don't have to do it. But I think that old mindset that parents teachers, caregivers can sometimes have is, okay, we'll just give children a lot of instructions to do things, and then they can get on with it, and then we're going to carry on. But I think we're coming into this new way of thinking, thank goodness, like the ancients thought, like the, mystery schools have been teaching for thousands of years, is that we need to do it. We need to set the example, and then the children or the family or whoever else it is will follow us,
And children look to parents for their cues.
Yeah.
I've seen children look up, when they're, I've always found it on a day, usually minders will collect. I'm retired now from my school, as you know, but, minders might come and collect. But if it was a day mommy was coming to collect or daddy was coming to collect, this child was jumping out of her skin the whole morning. So excited that mommy was collecting her. But yeah, children do look to their parents. And I've had a lot of children come to me and, with stress and whatever.
Yeah.
It's not really the stress of the child. The root isn't the child. It's the mother or the father. Yeah. And it's spreading it. So I would say...
Margaret, so you're a healer and a guide in the mystery school. Is that something that then you recommend to the parents and the family, is to perhaps get a life activation? Is that how you...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I activated. Now I had to get parents' permission, but the vast 99% of the children I had, while I had learned the life activation, I did it for them, and for some of the parents as well. And I would say, because it just opens up, it brings you to a sense of knowing, a sense of calm. Now it can also rattle you to move yourself, and then moving to the Empower Thyself program. That was life changer for me. I learned these tools that every day I use, and that I can keep control of my stress. I can keep myself in a place of being centered. And when I'm like that, if I went into school and I was cross, and of course there was days I went in because I was so, for a long time I didn't know what I was doing. And then the children would pick up on it. And that was not a nice place to be. And the same with the home, and mothers need to look after themselves, and fathers do too. And I guess a great thing to do is not to be afraid to show that you're stressed. A mother, and for the child, it's a great lesson for a child to see mommy's stressed, and here she is, she's managing it. She has her way to managing, whether it's to get out and run, whether it's to breathe. And, this is where children take up there. And another great thing is, to name your stress. I'm really anxious today. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Or a teacher to say, I'm sorry, guys, just slow it down a bit, just calm it down. I'm feeling overwhelmed.
I love that how the adult is positive role modeling. With a stressful situation. They're not trying to kind of mask it all, and
no, we can't mask it. They have to work. We have to bring it up and then maybe talk about it. And okay, what are the ways, what are the solutions we can bring to this, whether it's breathing.
Also, I know that we're talking about children and parents a lot, but something I want to cover, and I know we're kind of running out of time a little bit, but you work with a lot of the older generation, so the grandparents and the grandparents, great grandparents, extended family, and so they can also be taking on these responsibilities, even if they're at a certain age. I mean, could you tell us a little bit about your experience of how the older generation have jumped on with your holistic practices and such like as well, and the effect that has on a family?
Yes, many people say to me, oh, I spent all my life stressed. I wish someone had to say this to me. I never thought my breathing could calm me down so much. They say, when I drive out of here, I'm back teaching on Zoom and in my living room. And when I drive out of here, I feel so calm going home. And I'm able, I can be in the middle of chaos. I can push myself and maybe help with my grandchildren. I feel more wise, and I can help my grandchildren in a more, without judgment. And of course, judgment is a, not a nice word. It's not a nice energy.
Yeah.
And the less, you know, and I think this is where parents come in a lot. Parents are getting, sorry, grandparents. Grandparents, I'm a grandparent myself. I'm getting a second chance with my grandchild. And I look back and I say, oh, golly, I wish I'd known these things when I was young. I did go to a parenting course years ago because I really felt I needed it. And I was really losing it. And I thought, I paid €2. I did like €2 a night. It was 6 nights. It was one of the best things I ever did. And I think, you know, these babies arrive and we're automatically meant to be downloaded with what do we do? But it doesn't happen that way. And we have to trial and error. But you know what? If there's someone listening to this, go and do a parenting course. Then, you know, as well, connect with your breath. Have a life activation. Do sacred geometry. Do empower thyself. Oh my God. I have a sacred geometry class happening next Monday morning here in my house.
Good.
Now the numbers are obviously for COVID. I have to meet social distancing regulations, all that. But yeah, going back to grandparents. Grandparents have such a huge job. They play such a role. And the children represent their future. And kids, if they make a connection at all with grandparents, it can be really strong.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And it's like you were saying, interestingly, it's you know, you have a huge following, I think, of the older generation, and
Yes.
this is something that I really wanted, you know, people to understand, is that, you know, just because you get to a certain age, it doesn't mean that your spiritual learning or your learning of oneself stops. It's actually where, you know, we start quantum leaping and actually really start the work, you know.
You bring all your experience with you and you're able to see the wood from the trees. Wow.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly.
You know, and then I found in the school, you know, when I got into it, I thought, oh my God, you know, the powers who set the education have to have, this is all personal growth. We will see change in our world.
Yeah.
We will see change in our world when we create change in ourselves. You know, this is a ripple effect outwards.
Mm.
And yeah, I love all the children. I love the parents and the grannies, and they are never too old. My God, they are full of wisdom.
Well,
and they take very well to learning the rituals of Empower Thyself program, because they can tell what's real and what's not real.
yes.
You know? Yeah.
And I really want to make sure we're coming to the end of our interview now, but and I want to talk to you loads more. So I'm going to book you in again for another. I know round 2, Margaret. I know. Can we take it? Can we take it? But just to finish off, I just want people to know that you are taking, you are doing a sacred geometry class, as you mentioned, and I highly recommend that.
I just finished one yesterday.
Yeah, yes. I'm going to put the details in the comment box, Margaret, of that.
Thank you.
I'll contact you. Also, Margaret obviously has a wealth of knowledge and experience. She, you know, has trained in nursing. She qualified nurse midwife. Also in education, she's a guide and healer in the mystery school. So she has lots and lots and lots of experience, and I know that she's taking on clients at the moment. She is like a super nanny. She wouldn't say it, but I will. You know,
I'll have to get my cape.
So, you know, if you want help with your family situation, if you want help, you know, just going through. Margaret's doing Zoom consultation. She can do it over Zoom. She can come to your home. Obviously, if you're in Ireland, she'll come to your home and work with you. And, you know, you can take these classes, and the children can have sessions, the family can have sessions. It's a whole holistic approach. So please get in touch with her if you are struggling, or any member of your family is struggling. Do not struggle alone. Margaret has a wealth of experience and knowledge, and has worked with hundreds and hundreds of children and grown-ups over the years. So, you know, I don't know how much more I can say. Please just book her. I know she's few hours. She's busy because she's got her own stuff, clientele going on and all that rest of it. But I know she will be taking some new clients. So please make that, make that call. She will help you. Don't suffer on your own. Margaret, just to finish off, we've got Valerie, who said, wow, this is just brilliant. She's a woman after my own heart. We've got Roman saying tremendous. Valerie said, what a wonderful person you are, Margaret.
Thank you.
I could listen forever. So beautiful way of seeing things. And then we've got I don't know who this person is, but I will check in. Somebody that's needing help, and we need the best person. Okay, and I'll contact you, and then I will direct you to whoever is the nearest practitioner.
Lovely.
So thank you, Margaret. Are you willing to come back for part 2?
Absolutely.
Yes. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Well, lots of love to everyone out there, and thank you, Margaret. And I'm going to put your details in the comment box now.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. God bless.